In a world full of noise, learning to focus is a quiet act of rebellion. While the masses are pulled in 1,000 directions, scrolling endlessly, reacting impulsively, chasing distractions, the Stoic chooses stillness. Focus, in the Stoic sense, isn't about productivity hacks or to-do lists. It's about directing your energy toward what truly matters and letting go of what you can't control. It's an inner discipline, not just an outward behavior. Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." The Stoics understood that scattered attention leads to a scattered life. True power comes from being fully present, from anchoring yourself in the task at hand. And when you cultivate this level of focus, not through force but through intention, you begin to experience life not as a blur, but as something deeply real, meaningful, and calm. 1. Recognize what you can and cannot control. One of the most transformative teachings of Stoicism lies in its brutally honest, yet liberating distinction between what is within our control and what is not. At first glance, this principle may sound overly simplistic, almost obvious, but when you truly internalize it, when you begin to filter your thoughts, actions, and worries through this Stoic lens, you start to see a profound shift in your mental clarity and emotional focus. You can't control the economy. You can't control how other people think, speak, or behave. You can't control aging, illness, or the passage of time, but you can control your attitude. You can control your effort. You can control your decisions, your reactions, and the meaning you choose to assign to life's events. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, said it best: "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Why does this matter for focus? Because so much of our attention is wasted on things that lie entirely outside our sphere of influence. Every time we obsess over what others think of us, or spend hours doom scrolling through bad news, or argue endlessly over outcomes we can't change, we are pouring our mental energy into a bottomless pit. That's energy we could be using to build something, learn something, strengthen our relationships, or deepen our character. The Stoics urge us to turn inward and reclaim that energy. Imagine your attention like a beam of light. If you scatter it everywhere, it becomes dim and ineffective. But when you narrow it, direct it toward what you can influence, your routines, your discipline, your purpose, it becomes powerful, even radiant. This is not about passivity. On the contrary, it is about powerful, focused action. When you stop fighting battles that aren't yours to win, you free up your willpower to engage in the battles that truly matter. Mastering yourself, keeping your word, following through on what you say you'll do. That is where real transformation begins. And yes, this mindset takes practice. Every day you'll be tempted to slip back into worry and blame, to fixate on other people's opinions or external outcomes. But each time you pause and remind yourself, is this within my control? You're sharpening your focus. You're pulling your mind out of the chaos and back into clarity. You're aligning yourself with the core of Stoic wisdom. Reflection. When you consciously separate the controllable from the uncontrollable, life becomes less overwhelming and more meaningful. You begin to understand that peace doesn't come from everything going your way. It comes from learning to steer your ship through storms you can't stop. Ask yourself today, what would my life look like if I only focused on what I can actually control? The answer might just change everything. Second, begin the day with premeditatio malorum. There's a powerful Stoic habit known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. It sounds a bit grim at first. Why would you begin your day thinking about everything that could go wrong? But here's the paradox. By confronting possible hardships in advance, you actually free yourself from the fear of them. Rather than making you anxious, This practice strengthens your psychological armor, preparing your mind not for pessimism, but for resilience. The Stoics understood that uncertainty is part of life. We might lose a job, face betrayal, encounter illness, or be forced to deal with disappointment. Premeditatio malorum is not about expecting the worst, but acknowledging that life is unpredictable, and that we are more powerful when we are mentally ready for it. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself that he would meet people who were selfish, rude, or ignorant. This was not an act of bitterness. It was preparation. So when these moments arrived, he wouldn't be surprised or emotionally derailed. Try this. Before your day begins, sit in silence for a few minutes and mentally walk through what could potentially go wrong. The meeting might not go as planned. Traffic may be stressful. Someone might criticize you unfairly. A deal could fall through. Then calmly remind yourself, if that happens, I will respond with strength and composure. I will not let external chaos ruin my internal peace. In doing so, you are not manifesting misfortune. You are building mental readiness. Modern life is full of curveballs. Our days rarely go exactly as we imagined. Yet many of us still respond to disruptions with surprise, frustration, or panic, as if we expected the world to cater to our plans. Premeditatio malorum resets those expectations. It makes us more grounded, more alert, and ultimately, more grateful when things do go well. And when they don't, we face them with maturity instead of meltdown. This technique also serves as a filter for what truly matters. If you imagine losing something, a project, an opportunity, even a possession, you start to see which parts of your life are genuinely meaningful and which ones are just ego or attachment. It helps clarify what's essential and reminds you to act today with care, purpose, and perspective. Reflection. True emotional strength doesn't come from pretending everything will go perfectly. It comes from being mentally ready when life doesn't. So tomorrow morning, before your first sip of coffee, ask yourself, what could go wrong today, and how can I remain at peace through it? This simple reflection might not stop the storm, but it will teach you how to be still within it. 3. Eliminate digital distractions with discipline. We live in an era where distraction is not the exception, it's the norm. Every ping, pop-up, and vibration is a tiny theft of our attention. The average person checks their phone hundreds of times a day, not out of necessity, but out of habit. The Stoics taught that we must guard the gates of our mind. Today, those gates are constantly being stormed by endless notifications, messages, and algorithm-driven content. If we don't consciously filter what gets in, we risk losing control of our time, energy, and clarity. Discipline is not about restriction, it's about liberation. When we eliminate digital noise, we create space for depth, reflection, and focus. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of that suffering now comes through doom scrolling, online comparison, and emotional overconsumption. The internet offers us knowledge and tools, but also anxiety, distraction, and superficial stimulation. Stoicism urges us to use tools with wisdom, not be used by them. Set digital boundaries like a warrior guarding his fort. Begin with small, intentional steps. Turn off non-essential notifications. Uninstall apps that add no value. Schedule specific times to check email or social media. Create focus zones in your day. Moments when all screens are off and your attention is undivided. Just like physical clutter affects our peace, digital clutter clouds our mind. Your mind needs space to breathe, to think, to be still. And silence, not scrolling, is the path to inner stillness. The Stoic idea of temperantia, or moderation, applies perfectly here. You don't need to quit the digital world, but you must train yourself to use it rather than be consumed by it. Just as we avoid unhealthy food to nourish our bodies, we should avoid unnecessary digital intake to nourish our minds. A focused mind is a powerful mind, one that is calm, decisive, and unshaken by digital storms. Productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with full presence. How many creative ideas have been lost because a notification interrupted them? How many deep conversations have been cut short by glances at a glowing screen? We must protect our time and presence as if they were sacred, because they are. Reflection. Every moment you reclaim from digital distraction is a moment returned to your true self. When you choose presence over pings, silence over scrolling, and clarity over chaos, you're not just managing time. You're honoring your attention as the most valuable currency you own. So ask yourself, what would I be capable of if I truly mastered my focus? The answer might just change your life. 4. Use daily goal visualization techniques. The mind, like a compass, needs a clear direction each day to stay on course. In a Stoic life, that direction is guided by virtue, purpose, and deliberate action. But modern life, with its noise and unpredictability, can easily scatter our attention. That's why cultivating the habit of visualizing your daily goals each morning isn't just a productivity trick. It's a mental training tool. It's a way to tell your inner world, this is what matters today. Daily goal visualization is the art of mentally rehearsing the kind of person you want to be and the specific actions you intend to take. It's different from fantasizing about success or glory. It's about preparing your mind to meet reality with focus and integrity. The Stoics practice something similar through their morning reflection rituals. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, would remind himself that he would face rudeness, selfishness, and ignorance, not to complain, but to stay grounded and act rightly. This was a form of mental visualization rooted in realism and self-mastery. Begin each day by sitting in silence for a few minutes. Picture your upcoming day like a movie. Imagine your key tasks, your interactions, the challenges you might face. See yourself responding with calm, choosing patience over anger, discipline over impulse, clarity over confusion. Visualize yourself making progress on something meaningful, not for applause, but because it aligns with your deeper values. When you mentally walk through your goals, your brain starts to prime itself for those outcomes. Athletes do this before competitions, surgeons do this before operations, and Stoics did it to stay mentally prepared for life's tests. Visualization helps eliminate decision fatigue by rehearsing your responses ahead of time. It builds a reservoir of inner stillness that can't be shaken by the chaos outside. However, visualization must be paired with intention. It's not about wishful thinking, but about fortifying your inner resolve. The goal is not perfection, but alignment, aligning your inner intention with your outer action. In this way, your day doesn't happen to you, you happen to your day. And that subtle difference changes everything. You don't need an elaborate routine. A simple moment in the morning, perhaps while sipping tea or walking outside, is enough to center your mind. Let your imagination become your ally, not in fantasizing escape, but in preparing for engagement. Reflection. Each morning grants us a fresh canvas. How we visualize our day sets the tone for how we'll live it. When you see yourself acting with intention, kindness, and strength, you increase the chances that you will. So tomorrow, don't just wake up, arrive. Enter your day with a clear mind and a strong heart, and let your vision guide your action. In your mind, paint the life you're meant to live. Then go live it. 5. Do one thing at a time. In our fast-paced world, multitasking has become a celebrated skill. We pride ourselves on juggling emails, calls, social media, and errands all at once. Yet the Stoics teach us a different approach, one rooted in presence and focus. Do one thing at a time. This seemingly simple principle holds transformative power over the clarity and quality of our thoughts, decisions, and actions. When we scatter our attention across multiple tasks, we diminish the depth and impact of each effort. Studies show that multitasking actually reduces productivity and increases errors. But beyond science, the Stoics understood that the soul functions best when it's fully engaged in a single purpose. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to give his whole self to whatever he was doing without distraction or hurry. Doing one thing at a time means more than just sequential task management. It means immersing yourself completely in the present moment, honoring the task at hand with your full attention. Whether you are writing an email, having a conversation, or washing the dishes, your mind should be there, whole and undivided. This habit trains the mind to be calm and steady instead of restless and scattered. It cultivates an inner peace that multitasking cannot offer, because true presence is incompatible with distraction. When you focus fully on one thing, you not only work better, you also experience a deeper connection to life itself. Moreover, doing one thing at a time aligns perfectly with the Stoic ideal of living according to nature and reason. Nature is orderly, and reason guides us to prioritize what is truly important. The constant rush to do everything at once only fragments our energy and weakens our capacity to live virtuously. By dedicating yourself fully to each action, you honor the natural flow of life and your own capacity to act wisely. Practically, this means setting clear intentions before you begin. Turn off notifications, close unrelated tabs, and mentally prepare to give your full attention to the task before you. When distractions come, as they inevitably will, acknowledge them but gently return your focus without judgment. This is a muscle to strengthen over time. By committing to this practice, you reclaim your time and mental clarity. You deepen your relationships by truly listening, enhance your work by giving it your full effort, and enrich your inner life by living with intention. Reflection. In a world that demands speed and quantity, remember this: quality is born from focus. When you give your full self to one moment, you unlock the power of presence. The next time you find yourself pulled in many directions, pause and ask, what am I truly here to do right now? Then choose that with your whole heart. Life is not a race to do many things poorly. It's a journey of doing one thing well. 6. Practice solitude and silence. In the relentless rush of modern life, solitude and silence can seem like luxuries few can afford. The noise of constant notifications, busy schedules, and social demands drown out the quiet voice of our inner self. Yet the Stoics understood that to cultivate sharpness of mind and emotional resilience, one must deliberately seek moments of solitude and silence. Practicing solitude is not about loneliness or isolation. Instead, it's a conscious choice to withdraw from external distractions and engage deeply with your own thoughts, values, and emotions. It's an opportunity to step back from the chaos and reconnect with what truly matters. The Stoics valued this practice as essential for self-awareness and clarity. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, advised that we must retire within ourselves to find peace and strength. In solitude, we learn to observe our minds without distraction, to examine our desires and fears, and to realign our actions with reason and virtue. Silence becomes a mirror reflecting the noise and clutter of our unexamined lives, allowing us to sweep it away. In today's world, carving out time for solitude might mean turning off your devices, setting boundaries around social commitments, or simply sitting quietly in a park or room. It's a practice that helps reduce mental clutter and sharpen your focus. When your mind isn't pulled in 100 directions, you begin to hear your own reasoned voice more clearly. Moreover, silence fosters emotional regulation. It creates a safe space to feel without immediately reacting, allowing emotions to settle so they can be understood rather than feared or ignored. This enhances self-control and prevents impulsive decisions driven by anxiety, anger, or excitement. In addition, solitude nurtures creativity and problem-solving. Without the noise of others' opinions or constant external stimuli, your mind can wander freely and generate new insights. Many of history's greatest thinkers found solitude indispensable for deep reflection and breakthrough ideas. However, practicing solitude requires discipline and courage. It's tempting to escape into distractions or seek constant social validation. The Stoics remind us that true strength lies in mastering ourselves, which begins by being comfortable with our own company. Reflection. In the silence of solitude, we discover the true sound of our soul, steady, clear, and strong. When life gets noisy and overwhelming, don't rush to fill every moment with activity or distraction. Instead, pause and embrace the quiet. Ask yourself, what can I learn about myself in this stillness? Solitude is not emptiness. It is the fertile ground where clarity and wisdom grow. 7. Shift perspective through daily reflective journaling. One of the most transformative practices the Stoics embraced was the habit of daily reflective journaling. This exercise wasn't simply about recording events, but a deliberate effort to examine one's thoughts, emotions, and actions to gain clarity and cultivate wisdom. Writing a journal each day is a powerful tool to sharpen your focus, develop emotional intelligence, and ultimately change your perspective on life. The Stoics believe that life is not just about what happens to us, but how we interpret those events. Our perspective shapes our experience. Reflective journaling invites you to step outside the immediate emotional reactions and analyze your day with a clear, reasoned mind. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously wrote his Meditations, a journal of reflections, to challenge his assumptions, reinforce his values, and realign his behavior with Stoic principles. Through journaling, you create a habit of conscious self-awareness. You learn to identify recurring thoughts and feelings that may cloud your judgment or fuel negative emotions like anger, jealousy, or anxiety. For example, when you write down moments where you felt frustrated, you might discover underlying fears or unrealistic expectations causing that reaction. By recognizing these patterns, you can begin to shift your mindset and respond more thoughtfully. Journaling also cultivates gratitude and acceptance. By noting what you are thankful for, even amid challenges, you train your mind to focus on what is positive rather than dwelling on what's lacking. This shift in perspective reduces stress and fosters a more balanced, peaceful outlook. Moreover, the act of putting thoughts on paper slows down mental clutter. In the rapid pace of modern life, our minds often jump from one worry to another without pause. Reflective journaling offers a structured pause, an opportunity to organize your thoughts and make sense of the chaos. It brings clarity by turning swirling emotions and vague impressions into concrete insights. Another benefit of daily journaling is the sense of progress it reveals over time. When you look back at previous entries, you gain perspective on how much you have grown, which challenges you have overcome, and which habits need continued attention. This long-term view helps prevent despair when facing setbacks, reminding you that growth is a journey, not a single event. The practice is simple yet profound. It requires just a few minutes each day, preferably in the morning or evening, to write honestly and without judgment. Questions to guide your journaling could be, what did I do well today? What could I improve? What emotions did I experience and why? How did I respond to difficulties? What did I learn about myself? Reflection. Journaling invites us to become our own wise observer, not a harsh critic, but a compassionate guide. In the pages of your journal, you discover not only your struggles, but also your strengths. When life feels overwhelming, remember that changing your perspective is within your power. The pen in your hand can be the tool that rewires your mind, transforming confusion into clarity and turmoil into calm. Take time each day to reflect and rewrite your story with intention and grace. 8. Speak less, act more. In a world saturated with noise, whether it's from social media, constant chatter, or endless opinions, Stoicism reminds us of the profound power found in restraint. The principle of speak less, act more is a timeless strategy that encourages focusing energy on meaningful actions rather than idle words. This approach not only sharpens your focus, but also cultivates integrity and respect. The Stoics valued wisdom and virtue over empty talk. They understood that words, while important, are powerless unless backed by consistent action. Epictetus taught that true wisdom is shown by what you do, not what you say. We often encounter people who speak grandly about their intentions, but fail to follow through. Conversely, those who act quietly and persistently often achieve more meaningful and lasting results. Speaking less doesn't mean withholding communication or avoiding necessary conversation. Rather, it means speaking with purpose and clarity, eliminating unnecessary noise that distracts from your goals. When you limit your words, each statement carries more weight. Your speech becomes a reflection of your values, and others learn to listen because they trust your words to be genuine and thoughtful. Action, on the other hand, is the domain where true transformation occurs. Stoicism teaches that life is about practice, living your principles through daily choices and behaviors. Instead of spending energy on complaining, worrying, or debating things beyond your control, channel that energy into concrete steps that bring you closer to your values and objectives. This habit strengthens self-discipline. When you prioritize action over talk, you develop the inner resolve to persevere, even when results are slow or challenges appear. It also minimizes distractions, as excessive talking can lead to procrastination or confusion. Acting decisively and deliberately cultivates confidence and clarity, allowing you to measure progress in tangible terms. Furthermore, speaking less and acting more fosters humility. It reminds you that you don't need external validation or applause to know your worth. True fulfillment comes from the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are living according to your principles, regardless of recognition. This approach also impacts your relationships positively. People are drawn to those who show reliability through their actions, not empty promises. When your words are backed by deeds, you build trust and inspire others by example. This quiet influence is far more powerful than any argument or boast. Reflection. Next time you feel the urge to speak out of impatience or frustration, pause and ask yourself, is this necessary? Will my words lead to meaningful action? Remember, the essence of wisdom lies not in being heard, but in being consistent. Let your actions speak volumes where words fall short. In doing so, you cultivate a life rooted in purpose, integrity, and silent strength. 9. Establish a consistent morning routine. One of the most impactful, yet often overlooked techniques to enhance focus and productivity is establishing a consistent morning routine. The Stoics recognized the power of starting the day intentionally. Marcus Aurelius himself advocated beginning each morning with reflection, preparing oneself mentally for whatever challenges lie ahead. A consistent morning routine serves as a foundation for cultivating discipline, clarity, and calm throughout the day. When you wake up and follow the same series of intentional actions each morning, your mind is anchored. This predictability reduces decision fatigue, allowing you to conserve mental energy for more complex tasks later in the day. Without a morning routine, the first moments of your day can easily dissolve into distractions. Checking social media, reacting to emails, or rushing through tasks, leaving you fragmented and unfocused. A Stoic morning routine often involves simple but powerful practices such as mindfulness, journaling, physical exercise, and reviewing your priorities or goals. Mindfulness helps ground you in the present moment, preventing your mind from wandering into worries or distractions. Journaling, especially writing down your intentions or reflecting on your values, connects you with your deeper purpose. Physical exercise invigorates the body, increasing alertness and resilience. Reviewing your goals clarifies what matters most, so you act with direction and resolve. Consistency is key. By practicing these rituals every morning, you build momentum and create a psychological cue for focus and calm. It becomes easier to face difficulties with equanimity because your mind is already trained to approach the day with intention. Furthermore, this routine helps you maintain control over your internal state rather than reacting to external chaos. Moreover, having a set routine fosters a sense of personal responsibility and empowerment. You reclaim the power to shape your day rather than being shaped by circumstances beyond your control. This aligns perfectly with Stoic principles of focusing on what is within your control, your actions and mindset. In modern life, distractions abound, and our attention is pulled in countless directions. A consistent morning routine acts as a fortress for your focus. It sets the tone for the entire day, influencing how you manage stress, make decisions, and interact with others. Over time, this discipline compounds, leading to profound improvements in mental clarity, emotional stability, and overall well-being. Reflection. Consider your mornings as the gateway to your day's quality. What rituals will you embrace to prepare your mind and body? Remember, consistency doesn't mean rigidity, but a committed practice that roots you in calm and purpose. Start small and let your morning routine be your anchor. A quiet yet powerful force that guides your focus, sharpens your will, and empowers you to meet life's challenges with peace and clarity. 10. Evening evaluation with Stoic introspection. In the practice of Stoicism, the day does not simply end when the sun sets. Instead, it concludes with an important ritual of introspection and evaluation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously kept a personal journal where he reflected on his actions, thoughts, and emotions each day. This evening evaluation is a powerful technique for cultivating wisdom, improving self-discipline, and sharpening mental clarity. The idea behind a Stoic evening evaluation is simple yet profound. Before you rest, take dedicated time to review your day honestly and calmly. Reflect on your decisions, your reactions, and the alignment of your actions with your core values. Did you respond with virtue? Did you allow yourself to be swept away by negative emotions? Were you mindful of what you could control? Or did you waste energy on things beyond your influence? This process is not meant for self-criticism or guilt, but for clear, objective observation, acknowledging both your successes and your areas for growth. This practice allows you to close your day with intention. It brings a sense of completion and accountability, reinforcing the Stoic belief that we are responsible for our internal state and our actions, regardless of external circumstances. By reviewing the day's events through the lens of reason and virtue, you cultivate a mindset that values continuous improvement and resilience. Moreover, this nightly introspection helps to calm the mind before sleep. Rather than allowing worries or regrets to fester, you place them in perspective, recognizing what you can learn and what must be released. This mental clearing is essential for restful sleep, which in turn supports sharper focus and emotional balance the next day. To make this practice effective, find a quiet moment each evening, perhaps with a journal or simply in silent reflection. Ask yourself key questions such as, what did I do well today? What could I have done differently? Did I maintain control over my emotions? Did I practice patience, courage, or wisdom? What lessons can I carry forward tomorrow? This ritual can become a cornerstone of your daily routine, building discipline and nurturing a clear, calm mind. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to rush through days without pause, leaving emotions unresolved and lessons unlearned. The Stoic evening evaluation encourages you to slow down, take stock, and end your day with dignity and purpose. Over time, this habit transforms your relationship with yourself, helping you to develop deeper self-awareness, greater emotional resilience, and an unwavering commitment to your values. Reflection. As you close your day tonight, ask yourself, how did I live today? Did I act in harmony with my principles? What wisdom have I gained from today's experiences? Let this gentle but honest self-examination be your guide, not to judge harshly, but to grow steadily. Remember, true mastery begins with self-awareness, and every day is an opportunity to refine the art of living peacefully and wisely. You don't need a perfect environment to focus, just a practiced mind. The Stoic path reminds us that clarity isn't found by changing the world around us, but by steadying the world within. These 10 techniques aren't tricks to get more done. They are practices to help you live more deliberately, more wisely, and more in tune with your true purpose. In the end, focus is a form of freedom. It frees you from reacting to every noise, every opinion, every pull of emotion. And in that freedom, you reclaim your most valuable resource, your attention. Use it well, guard it fiercely, and let it guide you toward a life of quiet strength and lasting impact.